All right. Hello, hello. We are back for this time Maestros Mayhem in the fourth of our series of the Streets of New Capenna commander decks. So let's get cracking. All right. So Maestros lines up with Grixis, which is, of course, blue, black, red. And the commander for this one is Angelo the Painter, which is a 3-drop 1/3 with Death Touch, and the first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn has Casualty 2. So that means you can sacrifice a creature with power 2 or greater and copy that spell. So Casualty, of course, being the Maestro's keyword for New Capenna. Alright, and then our second card is Parnis, the Subtle Brush. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless that player pays 4 life. Okay, so it lets you defend your stuff. And then whenever you copy a spell, up to one target opponent may also copy that spell. They may choose new targets for that copy. Huh. That feels like it could potentially backfire. Right, and we have a little chat, which is card selection from Streets of New Capenna. They have Cormella, Glamour Thief, which is a little mana producer that also lets you return an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand when it dies. Then we have Maestro's Charm, Maestro's Theater, Deep Analysis, great throwback card that is occasionally used in Pauper. Let's see, Factor Fiction, yeah, the good old end of turn Factor Fiction for the win. And Frantic Search, which is effectively a free spell. And with Casualty, you can actually net mana off of this. Then Ponder, Preordain, Talrand's Invocation, so creating some tokens to sack for Casualty. Feed the Swarm, one of the few ways of dealing with enchantments in black. Rite of the Raging Storm. Let's see, creatures named Lightning Rager can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player creates a 5/1 red elemental creature token named Lightning Rager. It has trample haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this creature. Okay, so it lets you force your opponents into creating creatures to attack other opponents, but not you. Goblin Electromancer, good, classic spell discounter. Let's see, Arcane Signet and Commander Sphere, solid core commander mana rocks. Let's see, Dimir Signet and Felwar Stone, and Izzet Signet, so a few more mana rocks. Extravagant Replication. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of another target non-land permanent you control. Okay, so just get to keep powering out copies of our stuff. Oh, you know what? If you have a way of copying this, you could create multiple copies of this. So once you make one copy of this, you could keep making copies of Extravagant Replication and then start copying all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Flawless Forgery. Casualty 3, so you can create a copy of it that way. Exile target instant or sorcery from an opponent's graveyard. Copy that card. You may cast that copy without paying its mana cost. That's pretty nice. Sinister Concierge. Okay, this card has way too much text. Let's see. When it dies, you may exile it and put 3 time counters on it. If you do, exile up to 1 target creature and put 3 time counters on it. Each card exiled this way that doesn't have suspend gains suspend. Okay. That is kind of nuts. So it's effectively a blue removal spell. Let's see, body count. Spectacle for a black. Let's see. Draw a card for each creature that died under your control this turn. Okay. Nice little draw engine there. Dogged Detective. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 2. Whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you may return Dogged Detective from your graveyard to your hand. So a good way to keep getting it back, and it's, of course, costed so that we can enable Casualty. Make an example. Each opponent separates the creatures they control into 2 piles. For each opponent, you choose one of the piles. Each opponent sacrifices the creatures in their chosen piles. Piles can be empty. Huh. Okay. Waste Management. Kicker for 3 and a black. Exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. If the spell was kicked, instead exile target player's graveyard. Create a 2/2 black rogue creature for each creature card exiled this way. That could be a massive token producer, especially if your opponent's running graveyard strategies. Xander's Pact, of course, referencing Xander, the sovereign of the Maestros. Casualty 2. Each opponent exiles the top card of their library. You may cast spells from among those cards this turn. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to that spell's mana value rather than paying its mana cost. That could be pretty broken. Audacious Swap. Casualty 2. The owner of target non-enchantment permanent shuffles it into their library, then exiles the top card of their library. If it's a land card, they put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, they may cast it without paying its mana cost. I have a feeling that we would use this on our own stuff instead, because that could be very interesting. I wonder if something can have multiple instances of casualty. So if the cards that already have casualty, if you could do that. Let's see, determined iteration. At the beginning of combat on your turn, populate. The token created this way gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. To populate, create a token that's a copy of a creature token you control. Okay, so that lets you do some fun stuff with your creatures and plays into your into the other strategies that we have. Spellbinding Soprano. Whenever Spellbinding Soprano attacks, instant and sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 1 less. Encore. Exile this creature from your graveyard. For each opponent, create a token copy that attacks an opponent this turn if able. They gain haste, sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step, activate only as a sorcery. Huh. So you could effectively pay 4 to discount all your spells for 3 by doing that. Okay. Cryptic Pursuit. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, manifest the top card of your library. Whenever a face-down creature you control dies, exile it if it's an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card until the end of your next turn. Wow. That has some snowball potential. Maestro's Confluence. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Return target monocolored instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Goad each creature target player controls. So you could use this to goad the entire table. That seems really good. Cyrex, Carrier of the Flame. Flying Haste. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card left your graveyard this turn, target Phoenix you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. Whenever another Phoenix you control dies, you may cast Cyrex, Carrier of the Flame from your graveyard. I wonder if that gets around timing. I don't think it does. Let's see. Smuggler's Buggy. Hideaway 4. Whenever Smuggler's Buggy deals damage to a player, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. If you do, return it to its owner's hand. Holy cow. Clone Legion. For each creature target player controls, create a token that's a copy of that creature. That plus Smuggler. Jeez. Dig Through Time. So I think we all pretty much know what Dig Through Time does. Drawn from Dreams. Look at the top 7 cards of your library, put 2 of them on your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library, so great for digging. Mystic Confluence. I didn't realize Mystic Confluence was in this. Alright, choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Return target creature to its owner's hand, draw a card. Let's see, River's Rebuke. Returns all non-land permanents to their owner's hands. Zender Judgment. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend creates a token that's a copy of a creature they control. Each foe returns a creature they control to their owner's hand. Oh, you choose all those. Oh, neat. That has a lot of politics. And of course, that includes yourself as well. So you could potentially create a copy of your own creature and then bounce, 3 other creatures or any number of combinations there. Army of the Damned, create 13 tap 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, which plays extremely well with our commander to give things casualty, but also just ramps up how many tokens we have that we can use for casualty, and it can be casualty to itself. Let's see, Bloodsoaked Champion. Okay, so the Bloodsoaked Champion from that was used back in Cons Block. Pretty sure this was Cons Block. So raid, you can return it to the battlefield if you attack this turn for 1 and a black, and it can't block. Damnable Pact, target player draws X and loses X. So fantastic draw engine on its own. Dread Summons, each player mills X cards. For each creature card put into a graveyard this way, you create tap 2/2 zombie creature token. Wow, that plus casualty is just crazy. Hex destroys 6 target creatures. Puppeteer Click, so great reanimate creature that also has Persist. Reign of the Pit. Each player sacrifices a creature, create an XX demon with flying where X is the total power of the creature sacrificed this way. Nice. Sever the Bloodline. Alright. Exile target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature with flashback for 7. Skyclave Shade. As kicker, if you kicked it, it comes with 2 +1/+1 counters. It has landfall that puts it back from your graveyard to your hand. Woe Strider, probably our sack engine here. You can sack a creature to scry 1. You can escape it for 3 and 2 black. And let's see. When it escapes, it comes in with 2 +1/+1 counters, and it creates a goat, of course. Chain Reaction. It deals X damage to each creature where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. Wow. That's effectively a Wrath most of the time. And red, which is just nuts. Double Vision. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets. That plus the enchantment that creates tokens of things. Oh, that could get really crazy really quickly. Rekindling Phoenix. When it dies, you create a 0/1 red elemental creature token with at the beginning of your upkeep. Sacrifice this creature and return target card named Rekindling Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste until end of turn. So I wonder if Rekindling Phoenix is even used in anything anymore. Squee the Immortal. You may cast Squee from your graveyard or from exile. Bedevil. Good removal spell. Call the Skybreaker. It's a solid retrace that creates a 5/5. Cast Dissident Mage. During flying 3/4 for 4. During each of your turns, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard. If you cast the spell this way, this would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Mimic Vat. Imprint, whenever a non-token creature dies, you may exile that card. If you do, return each other card exiled with Mimic Vat to its owner's graveyard. 3 and tap, create a token that's a copy of a card exiled with Mimic Vat. It gains haste, exile at the beginning of the next step. Twinning Staff, if you would copy a spell one or more times, instead copy it that if you would copy a spell one or more times, instead copy it that many times plus an additional time. You may choose new targets for the additional copy. So it gives you an extra copy whenever you copy. Okay. Oh, these are misprint. Got a little white homing dot, and they're miscut too. It's a whole series of them that are miscut together. That's neat. Cascade Bluffs, nice. Choked Estuary, Darkwater Catacombs, Exotic Orchard, Foreboding Ruins, Shadowblood Ridge, Smoldering Marsh, Sunken Hollow, Temple of Epiphany, Lightning Greaves, good core commander card, Recto Signet, Soul Ring, gotta have one in every deck, Wayfarer's Bauble, so a good way to tutor up your lands, Ash Barrens, Command Tower, Crumbling Necropolis, Grixis Panorama, which is our discount fetch land, Myriad Landscape, Path of Ancestry, Thriving Bluff, Thriving Isle, and Thriving Moor are our 3 Thrivings. And then, let's see, 6 islands, 2, 3, 5 swamps, and 4 mountains, and then a full art swamp, island, and mountain. The cardboard and Hello the Painter. It's a little thicker than normal. Our goat to go along with our Wosh Rider. And a zombie token. A drake. 2 drakes to go with our Tower Ends command. And 2 more zombies. A Lightning Rager token. And a rogue on the back. A flying 5/5 elemental to go with the Skycaller card. And they both have rogues on the back. Then a Star Demon, a copy on the back. Let's see, a 0/1 elemental to go with our Rekindling Phoenix, and a copy on the back. Then 2 manifest cards with copies on the back. And a pack of +1/+1 counters with the Maestros emblem on the back. And a turn card. All right. So far, I am very impressed with the reprints that were in there. You had Cascade Bluffs, first of all. Then you had just some crazy blue cards. You got Ponder and Preordain, which are banned basically everywhere except for, I think, Pauper, and Restricted and Vintage, which is, I mean, that's a good way to get a hold of stuff for Pauper. I guess they are legal in Commander also. So just really cool stuff overall. In the next video, we will be doing Obscura. That is Obscura, right? Yes, it is. Covering Obscura. But as always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, what's your favorite spell to copy? Yeah. For me, I think mine might be Rite of Replication. Yo dog, we heard you like copies, so we put copies in your copies so you can copy while you copy. Because puns abound. Um, but yeah, let me know what your favorite spell to copy is. Um, Actually, would it be reiterate? Reiterating a reiterate is pretty great. Or copying a reiterate is pretty great. So then you can reiterate and reiterate and reiterate and reiterate. Yeah, yeah. All jokes aside, yeah, I really want to know. It's fun. So until next time, we'll see you. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time. Bye.